Good afternoon, Stitch Roadies. How are you doing? Oh, I have been keeping my fingers crossed, staying in contact with friends who are in the Florida area, and just, wow, Mother Nature. Some of the videos are absolutely scary, and I was talking with one friend via Messenger, and she's in that Florida area, about how, I grew up in earthquake country. I moved to forest fire country, but I'm telling you, I have never quite seen anything like those hurricane videos. And so I am keeping my fingers crossed and chanting and praying for all of you in that area that everything is okay. Yeah. So what have I been up to? Well, since coming back, it's been busy, 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 catching up on family, grandkids, cousins, all of the things, It's been a busy time getting back into the cadence of life, when you take a step back and you're out of that rhythm, it takes a little bit to get back to that rhythm again. And I came back and I found out, I got to show you, my younger son has publishes books that are gaming books, and they are they're role-playing books that are, let's see, The Orphaned Bookworm Production is the name of his book, and he does it in collaboration with not only several other people, but my older son does some of the artwork. And so there's books. So if you have any gamers out there that are interested in these role-playing games, he has published several books under the Orphaned, aren't they? I mean, it's just amazing to me. I know nothing about this world here, but I am totally impressed that I have such a I have a couple of creative kids. But this one, it totally cracks me up, because in this particular one, my dear mother was a female in a male-dominated world and culture, and she wanted to go to medical school so badly, but in her town, village, there was no such thing as a girl going off to become a doctor. But that was always her dream, and she would have been smart enough to do that. But my younger son, in this role-playing game, made her a doctor. And so she's on the cover of this book. So there is my mother on the cover of this book. And this band here, it's filled with test tubes that she has on, and her name, it's, I mean, she would have been tickled. She would have been so tickled. But so if you're interested, I'll have, or if you know anybody else in your life who is interested in these role-playing games, that's the thing there. I will put a link in the description box. Yeah. So, needless to say, it was fun to be back with family, and today I had an absolutely wonderful experience. I was meeting up with my cousin at our favorite coffee shop, Refuge Coffee. It's in the Lentz neighborhood, and we love their Mexican coffee. It's spicy. Oh, it's so good. But it's, when you've been away, it's just a way to kind of ground and reconnect. We weren't gone that long, but it does seem like in some ways it was forever, because since we left, one of their children went off to college, and yeah, so we had to catch up. But the best part, truly, I mean, I love my cousin, but truly the best part of that whole coffee experience today was when we were leaving and we were out on the sidewalk. We were laughing and hugging each other, and we only live less than 10 miles apart, but we hadn't seen each other in a while, and there was a lot to catch up on. And so we were laughing and hugging each other, and there was a gentleman that was walking down the street, and he stopped and he goes, "Oh my God, this is so fabulous," And, we're kind of used to just randomly people talking to you on the sidewalk here in Portland. But he stopped, and we stopped and laughed, and he says, "It's so refreshing to see two people that are happy and hugging each other. We don't see that enough anymore." It kind of made my whole day. It did. It made my whole day. And we were laughing, and I said, "I know, isn't it fabulous?" And we said, "We love each other." And he's going, "Oh, you made my day." So, yeah. It was a moment. It was a moment. So what have I been doing cross-stitching? Well, let me just tell you, it's October, so I celebrate every day. I celebrate the entire month, my birthday, and I have been blessed this month. And yesterday I went to Acorns and Threads, and I have a mailbox there because I get so many sweet cards and just lovely contacts through them. So I have an actual mailbox there. And in that mailbox was this fabulous box that I have to say I was speechless. Now, yes, the box was supposed to have arrived at the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit, but someone who shall remain nameless forgot to bring it over. So I'm going to show it to you because the box alone is fabulous. So look at this box. Isn't that the coolest? And it's a magnetic, got a magnetic closure. But this is from my friend Cara Lee. Oh, and look at the tissue paper is bees. And it was filled with stitchy goodness. But let me just say, I already ate the chocolate. Yeah, there was a piece of chocolate in there. But it's filled with all these beautiful bee things in it. And I mean, it was like Christmas yesterday when I opened this up. So there was this Keurig tea and honey. This thing is absolutely adorable. I wonder, does she make these things? I mean, it's just this little paper envelope, but it was filled with Bit of Honey. Do you remember Bit of Honey? I already ate one. I used to love these when I was a kid. I haven't even seen these anywhere, so I don't know where she... I mean, it didn't taste like it was as old as me, so she must have found somewhere a notepad with a pen. Wildflower seeds. I mean, really, this box was unbelievable. Here's a acorn waxer. Oh, And this bee charm is absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to find a spot for that. And then look at this. This is like a needle case with needles and scissors. Gonna go, it'll be packed into a project. But this is what, oh, and here's some needle minders and bee tape. But let me just show you. And we know as makers how precious things are when they're made. And here is a tag that says acorns and threads on one side. And then look at this, Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit. Stitched on paper. This is so beautiful. Carolee, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It was so fun to open that up at Acorns and Threads yesterday. I mean, little things every day. It's been so fun. I love when I celebrate my birthday for a whole month. But this totally cracked me up. So, look at this wonderful card. Isn't that a gorgeous card? Sacred Bee from my classmate Danielle. He who has a garden and a library wants for nothing. Absolutely, absolutely. Speaks to my heart. But in the box that arrived was this beautiful Portland City of Roses kerchief. And then this wine glass, and yes, it's a wine glass. Look at that bee on there. And it's real glass. But this thing here totally cracked me up. I've never even seen this before. This is the smallest, absolutely smallest cross-stitch project, fully kitted cross-stitch project I have ever seen. Queen Bee in a matchbook. Yes, it's that small. And when you open it up, it has the pattern, the floss, and the fabric. And when you stitch it, it will look like that. Only you, Danielle. Only you. And then I received a bouquet of flowers from my girlfriend Colleen, who I also went to high school with, in the shape of a cake. I mean, I was flabbergasted. First of all, I don't think I've seen a florist shop anywhere anymore. I can't even imagine where that, I mean, I don't think I've, yeah, but here's this guy rang the doorbell, and he had this cake made out of flowers. I'll have G put a picture at the end of the cake, because I had to actually light the candles because I wanted the full effect. But yes, it was quite a surprise to get a flower cake. I spent Monday visiting with Cheryl, Stitching with the Sisterlies, and Audrey, Stitchy Witch 42. We met up on my birthday, and I'm going to zuzu this up, but Cheryl gave us these little, like this comes off, and you can put a spool of thread there. This is a Ort container, or holds scissors and threader. Just so cute. So I'm going to make that all fancied up. Yeah. And then she had, and I will have G insert a picture of that, the cake she got. Oh my gosh, it was so delicious and so beautiful. It was so sweet of her to do that. And it was so great. You know when you're away from the cadence of your life and you come back into it, and to see that there's still people there that you care a lot about, and life, it just was so wonderful to stitch with them. And then Audrey gave me this fabulous bag, and wait till you see what's inside of it. I am all about the bees and the crows, and this is stunning. Now she said this, they have this at Acorns and Threads, so look at that. It's thread holder and thread cards, floss cards. Aren't they gorgeous? Oh my gosh, I just love that. I absolutely love that. I'm going to have to set that out so I can see it all the time, even when I'm not using it. Yeah. So then the kids got together one Sunday evening. We got together and sat around the fire pit outside. It was so funny because my youngest grandson he fell down and banged the back of his head on our fireplace. Blood. You know how head wounds are. But you know, you've got a paramedic and an ER nurse there. So my older son put a wad of paper towel and then masking taped around. No worries, we got it covered. And so my daughter-in-law, who works in the ER, she goes, well, maybe I'll clean it a little bit. So then she's cleaning the wound over the sink, and then she asked me for some glue. Gluing, you know. Yeah, we didn't have to call an ambulance. Everybody was here anyway. Yeah, it was great. I can't show it to you, but I am working on a Secret Santa gift. But when I went to get it up, I had no 310, DMC 310. What? That's like a staple. So I had to buy a couple of them just to have, have it there. I did have a fully finish. I showed you on the trip that I finished Nevermore, which is a chart that I got at Acorns and Threads. It is just a beautiful stitch. And I decided to leave the wording off because I wanted to frame it in the round. And I knew that I could probably, if I left the words off, I'd have a better chance of finding something it fit into. And then it turned out I had a clock that I'd gotten at the craft store that it fit really well into, and so I have a fully finish. Look at that. Isn't that great? I have, when I looked at my dry erase board that I showed you at the beginning of the year, I had something like 33 whips that I started the year with. That hasn't gone down a whole lot, but I have 34 finishes. Or no, I take that back, 34 starts, and but 20-some finishes, and fully finished a lot. So I'll give you those numbers next month as we're getting towards the end of the year, because then we're going to erase the whole board and start over again in January. Yeah. I have now moved up. I'm going to be having 3 designated stitches, And if you're new, my designated stitch is usually a whip that that was already started, that I'm going to focus on, and that's what I stitch on every night. And so Whip It Good by Beth Twist Heartstring Samplery has been the designated stitch. I'm not sure I should call this a designated stitch, as that it is for Christmas, so holiday stitching is in the air. And I have, it maybe isn't a designated stitch, but it is definitely, I need to get it done by Christmas. Two of them. I need to do a stocking, a shepherd's bush stocking, and then I am doing Doherty Designs Mount Bachelor on this fabric that I got from Stitchy Witch 42 Audrey, so you'll have to ask her about it. But look at that, it's the top of Mount Bachelor. Oh, this is going to be amazing. I'm really having fun with it. So I guess even though it's not a designated stitch, it is a focal stitch. Maybe it's a focal stitch. So I've been working on that. G gave me a gift card to Acorns and Threads. Yeah. So I had to shop, you know. And I was so inspired by having visited Margaret. Margaret is the person that runs the Facebook group for Acorns and Threads. She's a local stitcher. She also does the Zoom stitch, which I love Zoom stitching. It's an opportunity for me to sit around in my own stitching room and talk with people all over the United States and the world. And I love that. And we have quite a turnout every time Margaret announces it. So, you know, you get on it through Acorns and Threads. But when I went to Margaret's house, because she lives on the other side of the river, I was so impressed by how she displays all of her stitching. I sometimes will hesitate to do a stitch because I think, where am I going to put it? But the fact of the matter is that she has her stitching out, and it's all over the place, and in clever ways, and I have this brass bowl that was a gift from a minister to my parents when they were married, and it just sits in the living room empty. So why don't I fill it with stuff? And so I'm going to fill it with berries after seeing Margaret's berries, and this is the first berry that I'm going to do. So I picked up that pattern thanks to G, and while watching, I think it was a floss tube. I told myself I was going to be writing down whenever I watch a floss tube, and I forgot to do that. But it was either a floss tube or on Instagram. Someone had taken their, you know, like this little scissor here is, Peter made this, handcrafted by Peter. It's I'm almost ashamed. It's a naked spool, and I should be decorating it up. So I picked up this pattern, and it is a Honey of a Tiny Town heart and hand, and I'm going to stitch that to fit around. And one of my fellow stitchers told me that I can just seasonally change that. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Make it so that it ties together so I can untie it and change it to something else as the seasons change. I think that's a fabulous idea. So I have that in my future. What else? I've been doing a little bit of stitching on my acorn gathering, working away on the house. That should be a finish this year. Yeah, that should be a finish this year. And then Cheryl kept sending me pictures of Halloween patterns that she purchased, and you know what happens is that you start getting like, oh, I gotta go shop, I gotta pick something up. And I told myself, no, go look at what Halloween patterns you have. And when I went through my patterns, I found this fabulous book from Twin Peak Primitives that I got at Acorns and Threads, Gothic Halloween. Look at all those fabulous pillows. And guess which one I'm doing. Guess. Just go ahead and guess which one I'm doing. Yeah. And so I started that. Beware. This is being stitched on a fabric that I don't think is any longer available unless Acorns and Threads still has some. It's Fortnite Fabrics, 32 count, mind-blowing. I'm not sure they're doing fabrics, so if Acorns and Threads has some, it's probably the last one. But now I want to do all of these, especially, look at that crow. Yeah, there are some of you that have been infected by me on the bee and the crow stuff, and I don't apologize for that. Yep, lots going on. I am going to start a shepherd's bush stocking because I have a stocking to do this Christmas, and yeah, it brings happiness. Stitching brings happiness to me. I have been reading this book, no, not reading it, listening to it. And I will tell you, don't read it. If you're going to partake of it, listen to it while you're stitching, because it will, I can imagine it will be, well, for me, it would have been a challenging read, but listening to it was great. I listened to it on the trip back from Sedona, and I've been almost to the end of it. And some of it, I mean, a lot of it is very inspiring, and I want to change the pattern of how I live my life. It's called Lifespan. The author's last name is Sinclair. He's a scientist, PhD at Harvard, and he's talking about things we can do to increase our lifespan, and I definitely need to do that in order to get more of my cross stitch done. I'm thinking in terms of how I can get stuff done, but it also has a very emotionally challenging side to it. So take it with a grain of salt. Read the synopsis. I wouldn't recommend it for everybody, and I definitely would make it a listen to, not a sit down and read. I can't say like, oh, I am enjoying this read like the last book, but I'm glad that I've read it. Yeah, so it's called Lifespan. Okay, I think I have caught up with everything that I wanted to show you. I'm just looking around to make sure. Yes, I think we are at the end of this episode of Stitch Roadies. I hope you're all doing well, and you know I love you.